5 players you need to let your idiot league mates draft in fantasy football. Up first is Joe Burrow. And yes, everyone loves Joe Burrow. It's crazy to say don't draft him, but don't draft him where he's going on Sleeper, which is pick 34, compared to Lamar Jackson going at pick 36 or Justin Herbert at pick 48. I mean, both those guys are clearly better fantasy options. Herbert was a QB2 just a year ago, averaging over 23 points per game. And we already know what Lamar can do, especially when he's going to be passing more, opening up more running lanes for himself. Joe Burrow simply relies too much on his passing volume, whereas Justin Herbert will clearly easily throw for over 700 attempts. I'm not certain about that for Joe Burrow. The only time I would really draft him is if he falls and you have either T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. And with T. Higgins, I really still wouldn't do it, only with Jamar Chase. We've seen the league is changing and you really need rushing upside from your QB1. And if you're going to draft the guy in the first 3 to 4 rounds, he better have that upside. The second guy is Cam Akers, and it's like we just completely forget that week 1 he was absolutely benched last year, and then midway through the season he was potentially cut. Him and McVay were fighting every single week, and the only reason he did any sort of good towards the end of last year is because Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford got hurt, so what else are they going to do? They're just going to run the ball all game. They do not care about the results. That's why he had 3 100-yard games towards the end of the season. I don't think his talent is good enough for him to fend off every other running back in that field. Kyron Williams was good last year in the preseason. The coaches really loved him, but then he got hurt week 1, and then this year they draft Zach Evans, another guy who could compete for touches. Cam Akers is really your typical dead zone running back with no receiving work and not so much goal line work because that'll still be dominated by Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp had 6 of Matthew Stafford's 10 touchdowns last year. That's 60%. The year before, he had 40%, 16 out of 40 touchdowns. The third player is a tough one because it's Naji Harris, and I don't like where he's going at pick 29 on Sleeper. That is just too high for me, but I don't mind on Underdog where you can get him around pick 40 a lot more because wide receivers go higher over there. And if you haven't already, sign up on Underdog and take advantage of that ADP. If you sign up with code DNR, you'll get a $100 deposit bonus. So if you put in $100, they'll give you $200. You put in 10, they'll give you 20. Najee really isn't going to have that full workload that we got used to seeing 2 years ago with Big Ben Roethlisberger checking down to him 70 times in a season. Now it's more like 35 to 45 catches. And with Jalen Warren entering this backfield, he looked great in the preseason, great last year. I expect him to take some of that goal line work and some of the passing work. Najee's going from that 80 to 85% type of running back on the field to more like 60 to 65 by the year. And on top of that, if you aren't getting a ton of volume, you better have great breakaway ability. And unfortunately, Najee Harris doesn't. He's a bulldozer. He has decent hands, but he does not hit breakaway runs. A better guy like that is Tony Pollard. Number 4 is Isaiah Pacheco, and I have him much lower in my draft guide than most people do. My draft guide is free, by the way, so you want to check that out. It's in the Chalkboard below. Chalkboard is just like Discord. It's a 10,000 member group chat that I have personally, so hop in there, get fantasy advice from me and everyone else. Pacheco has an interesting role because Jerick McKinnon is the clear passing downs back, and McKinnon had 9 touchdowns through the air last year. And what's weird is when they get to the goal line, they still keep McKinnon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire or whoever's the receiving back on the field because they pass so damn much. So Pacheco's kind of this in-between the 20s running back that doesn't get the high value touches that we want in a fantasy running back. In the same range, I would much rather draft James Conner, who gets the full receiving workload. The head coach has already said they want to plan around him, and he gets the goal line work as well. We've already seen he's great in front of the goal line, actually. Over the last 7 games of last season, James Conner actually averaged 19.8 points per game. And the 5th guy you need to let your league mates draft is Ramondre Stevenson. I've been saying it all summer. He was bound to lose some of his job to another running back coming in. Ezekiel Elliott happens to be one of those best pass blocking running backs in the NFL, as well as a really good goal line threat. He still had 12 touchdowns in 15 games last year. As washed as he is, he can still do those 2 things really well. And the problem with Ramondre Stevenson is he came to the coaches last year and said, I'm doing too much. I need help in this backfield. He was kind of forced into that bell cow role when Belichick really never has that type of role. And that was because Damian Harris got hurt. Now that they have Zeke to spread out the wealth, Ramondre will still do well. He'll probably be more efficient, but he won't get that full workload that we need in the 2nd to 3rd round. I expect him to go from the 2-3 turn back into the 4th round pretty soon here. I hope you guys enjoy this type of video. Leave a like, drop a follow, drop a comment. Make sure you sign up on Underdog Fantasy. Take advantage of the easy drafting over there and get the free draft guide on Chalkboard. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.